We hit it. We had passed it. We were at 52, actually. All right, we're streaming. We're live. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. John Ellis here. Oh, man, that looks like it's nasty, out of sync. This is a shitty morning. This was supposed to be a really nice, well, not nice. This was supposed to be a big expose on climate change. I worked really hard yesterday, all of us did, putting together this expose on climate change, talk about the reality of climate change. And give me a minute here, Janina. I got to look at live production and make sure our audio is okay. Is audio okay? Yeah, I know you can hear it. Audio's out early. I didn't even run the music this morning because YouTube, before we even get into climate change, before we get into the fact that our planet is dying, which was the first thing I wanted to say, our planet is dying. It's been dying for a long time. We've known it. But that's, you know, that's the bigger issue. We all need to deal with that. The issue that I have to deal with this morning today is that YouTube has once again shut down our channel, channel number 4. No reason. Just violation of terms of service. That's their favorite thing to say. And before we get into the legalities, I will say this: YouTube has every right to say that. They can say, we just want to shut you down, and we're going to say violation of terms of service. They don't even need a reason. In their terms of service, it says they do not really need a reason to shut you down. It just because we just feel like it, because your name's this. We don't know. We're just going to shut you down. But they've done this before, and they keep saying we are violating Terms of Service 4, Section H. Terms of Service 4. We don't really understand what it means. The thing I'm most mad about, YouTube, is we have really tried to work within your restrictions. We've really tried to do what you want us to do here as an all-volunteer, non-monetized group. Okay? We are political activists, and I'm just going to say this right here. I realize YouTube is a separate entity from Google, the corporation, but they're kind of gobbled up by Google a while ago. Google, your motto was don't be evil, and you failed heinously. YouTube is evil. YouTube works with MSM to control political content, which belongs to the people, but you guys hide behind laws, and you work together to make a bunch of money off the backs of the 99, and you take our political content, and you won't let us use it. You shut down channels like ours that are simply out here preaching the truth about what's really going on in our country, what's really going on with the corruption, like you. You are corrupt, YouTube, and you don't even have the balls. You don't have the morals. You don't have the integrity to talk to me. I have repeatedly asked for somebody to speak with me on the phone from YouTube, but apparently no one there has the balls to talk to me. Where are you? You're just going to send me an email, send me a note, we shut down your channel again? You're a coward. Explain yourselves. I demand an actual explanation from you, but you know what? You don't have to give me one, because corporations in this country can do whatever the fuck they please. And it's very evident from what YouTube has done today. If you're not pissed off, 99, you should be. This is one small infraction. They have been doing this. Corporations have been doing this to us and our freedoms for a long time. You will not win, YouTube. Here we are on another channel. You could come down. You could come right now and shut down this one too, just because you feel like it. And the only reason we have to work with you is because you are the Walmart of video. Everybody goes to YouTube to look for video, and you provide a service. It's free, kind of, okay? But you know it's not free. You know what you get to do is data mine everybody that uses your service. So it's not free, and you make a shitload of money off of us. Right? I want an explanation, YouTube. I want to know why. And I need help. Okay? I've had some legal people drop by and offer me pieces of advice. Well, advice doesn't do me much. I need a lawyer. I need representation. I don't know what we can actually do here, but for gosh sakes, I got no money. We're running a volunteer network, and I've got a big corporation like YouTube batting me around, batting us around. And for God's sakes, the whole reason we created this damn network in the first was because mainstream media wasn't doing their jobs. I am livid pissed. But this will not stop me, YouTube. We set up another channel in about 10 minutes, and I'll make another one, and another one, and another one. You will not stop me. You will not stop the 99 from broadcasting the truth. You have no integrity as an organization. You are in bed with mainstream media, YouTube. You don't even have the courage to explain yourself to me. I demand an explanation. I demand somebody from YouTube talk to me. I've created 4 channels. All of those channels have received numerous emails from MSNs, multi-channel networks. Okay, they know that what we're doing here can make them an awful lot of money. Is that why you shut us down? Because we refuse to put money in your pocket, YouTube? I was willing to work with you on your nonprofit side. What we've created here is a patented process called engagement broadcasting. It doesn't use automation. It doesn't use any sneaky processes. It doesn't use spiders or robots. It's human beings working their asses off to do something better than a one-way broadcast. I would work with you and help you make money doing this on your nonprofit side, as long as we're not supporting sleazy shithole corporations. But you've chosen the cowardice. You've chosen the shitty route of just shutting us down because you got too many buddies in the MSN world. This is war. We are at war with our government, with the establishment, with YouTube, with every corporate media network that is trying to silence the 99. It's bullshit. I want an answer. I want representation. I want to know what the hell's going on, YouTube. Have some integrity. Show yourselves. Explain yourselves. Stop hiding behind the internet. Stop hiding behind your terms of service. And please, somebody try to find me. I need a lawyer. If I need to pay it, I will sell shit. I got some stuff I can sell. But I need to find a real lawyer that can look into this with me, understand what's going on, and work with me to fight these assholes. Because we have not done anything wrong. We have not done anything wrong at all. We are simply the people trying to have a voice, and it is being squished by mainstream media and your corrupt government and the corporations they work with. Sorry, everybody. It's been a long rant, but I'm actually more calm than I was about 30 minutes ago.
That's true.
Good morning. Hi, Janine.
Hi. And just because some people in the chat room have been asking, basically when they shut us down the last time, it was, as John said, violation of the number 4 of Section 8 of their Terms of Service, because they said we were using automated robot spiders or offline readers. And then there's a little blurb in here about, you know, not being able to use information for commercial solicitation purposes. We are not commercial. We don't collect any money. So it's total bullshit. And yeah, anything, we will fight this. We will, obviously we've got a new channel up and running, but it hurts us. It hurts us because we had over 5,000 subscribers. Now we start from the beginning again. But we will not stop, as John said. We are going to keep going. We're going to talk about climate change, and you know, they're not going to stop us. They're not going to silence us.
Yeah, they're not. Sorry, I'm reading a lot of emails come through, a lot of people making statements. There was so much that I wanted to say this morning before we even started. There was so much that was going to be said before YouTube decided to do this about the climate, about the last 3 shows or 2 shows, however many shows we've done so far. And Nancy Evans, you're right. You can't get to our channel. It's been shut down. Those of you that are seeing this, our channel 4 has been shut down. As Janine said, we're not going to stop. We're going to move on. But I have to say, the work that goes into building a single channel is ridiculous. The amount of work we're doing right now is it's beyond anything that I even expected, and I knew I was in for the long haul. And this is not just me. This is Janine, this is Sean, this is so many people. We have a lot of work to do to rebuild another channel, and now I'm not even sure we should. I don't even know what to do. We're going to keep this channel, but building an archive on it, I don't know. We just lost 150 plus videos of all the recent content that was on the other channel. They just wiped an archive of Bernie Sanders. They just wiped it all from the internet. That's directly affecting the campaign. If we were the campaign's official channel, that would directly hinder the campaign process. And this was argued in legislation years ago. They know we're not the official channel, and so they know they can do whatever the fuck they want. I need a lawyer who's got the balls to take this on with me, because what we do is transformative. It completely fits into fair use. We're dealing with CNN as a corrupt entity. We're dealing with YouTube as a corrupt entity, and I don't know what we can do to fight them. Maybe we need to set up our own servers, set up our own broadcast. I don't have the tools. I don't have the resources. This is it, 99. You are what? This is. You want to talk about fascist government silencing your voice? We just watched it happen. That's what's going on here. This is no different than burning books. YouTube just burned a pile of books. 150 books.
Of great content. You know, think about all the We the People episodes that they just took down as well. Our interviews with those wonderful people who are running for office. We will get them back up. There's no doubt. But because luckily I'm hoping that John has copies of those squirreled away somewhere, and we will put them back up. But to think that they could wipe out all of that content and make it unavailable is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the angrier you make me, YouTube, the angrier you make me, the more determined you make me. Same with all of you. Hillary, corporations, all of you out there. The more angry you make me, the more energy you give me to continue. So keep it up. Keep it up. You're fueling my fire. We will not be stopped by your assholery. Okay? It's not going to happen. Right? And on that note, we're going to move into climate change, but I want to address some things that I know I said yesterday that were pretty radical, and I want to address some things that people have said, hey, man, be careful. And I want to talk about the overall voice of the show as we move into climate change, which is what this show was supposed to be about today. It was supposed to be about climate change, because Bernie Sanders right now wants us to push the hashtag #ActOnClimate. And along with that, we really want everybody to ask Hillary where her plan is and tell us about her history with climate change. Because Hillary's been a big pusher. She actually brought fracking around the world. That was one of her big. She was the emissary of fracking. So Bernie wants to act on climate, and he's the only politician that really does, that's running for office. Any of the other plans, including Obama's plan, is not enough. It's not enough, and we're going to look at slides today and talk about that. This planet is dying. We are doomed. Your children are going to live on a shit rock. They are not going to have a planet to survive on because of what we've done, because of what Exxon did in 1977, along with your government and corporate media. But what I wanted to address really was that I'm much more angry and radical on this show, and I say a lot of things that probably sound really scary. And while I will apologize for possibly offending people and maybe freaking some people out, this is not Bernie rallies. This is my show. This is something that I'd wanted to do for a long time, and I told all the volunteers that I was not expecting anybody to help with this, and that was the reason I wanted to do it on my own, because I will be using cuss words frequently. I will be getting very angry. The F word will be thrown around here, because this show is about being angry. This show is about looking at the news and understanding how angry you should be. And this is about having passion in understanding these issues. We can't just read them and go, well, that's lovely. I'm glad to know that the oceans are all fucked, and close the book and move on. We need to be angry. We need to take action. And I'm not going to talk about the devastation of our planet without emotion. All right? Now, that said, I have a continuing problem in my head. I am actually not a man of violence. For as angry as I get, I'm not a violent guy. I don't own any guns. I've tried to fish a few times, couldn't gut the fish that I caught. I mean, that's the kind of person I am. And don't like seeing blood, don't like going to the doctors. You know, I'm a big mess of confusion there because I have rage. I have all this anger towards people like Governor Rick Snyder, who abuse the system and murder children. Right? And so when I think of people like Rick Snyder, I'm like, I'm not a man of violence, but somebody like this guy doesn't deserve justice. How do you put justice to a guy like that? If Adolf Hitler had been alive, how would you put justice to Hitler? What would that have been? Death? I mean, I guess that's justice. I don't even believe in the death penalty, but people like that, I don't know. And so I get angry and I say things like, he should be shot, because I fight that. I'm just going to be honest with you. I fight that every day. There are certain people in this world that I think really just deserve a bullet between the eyes. And then my human sense comes back to me and says, but you really don't believe in that, John. So what is justice? I don't know. I don't know what that justice is. I just know that I'm enraged about the injustice that continues to happen across our country, across our planet, because of people like Rick Snyder. And so, yeah, I say scary statements, and I think I say them because I want people to be shocked. I want people to go, wow, does he really mean that? I don't know what I really mean in terms of how we apply justice to horrific individuals like Snyder. I mean, how do you apply justice to a company like Exxon, who's known for 40 years that it's been destroying our planet and willingly destroying our planet and making money off that? How do you apply justice to a corporation like that? In the 40s, when we had finally won World War II, which was a massive global effort, everybody, we lined up who was left of the executive staff out of Hitler's army, and we shot them. We hung them. We put them on trial. Some of them went to prison, but you know, the Nuremberg trials were basically, you guys did some horrible, nasty shit. Right? As far as I'm concerned, people like Rick Snyder are no different. So how do you treat them today? I believe in restorative justice, but I just don't see humanity being restored in Rick Snyder. Okay? People like him should be ostracized from society. So when I say shoot him, it's because I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to say. So I'm open to that. And I realize that scares people, and I realize that's, you know, frightening, freaky radicals talk. But the problem is we've been too complacent in this nation because mainstream media doesn't really present these issues as being urgent. Well, they are. Our planet is dying. Our planet has been dying for decades. And we're going to look at that today. What's going on in comments, Janine, before we move into the actual facts? Anything? Anybody have anything to say? Hi, 35 of you out there.
Just a lot of people who are just as upset as we are. Thank you guys for joining us today and for your support. And yeah, we are going to be pushing out this channel as a new place to subscribe. So obviously, if you can help with that, that would be great. We will be moving our content as best that we can. But yeah, thanks everyone for being here for us today and for joining our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I'm looking for an alternative. If somebody knows of a free or really inexpensive alternative to YouTube where we could house our content and it can be accessible to the public and provide a comment thread, I'd be willing to switch. And honestly, if no, I mean that's really what it is. We need to have a place, a secure, solid place where all this video can be publicly accessible and we can have a conversation. That's really all it is. And YouTube would be the best place for that, but they just don't seem to want to work with us. They don't seem to really want to be for the people. They're for the corporations. And so thank you all out there. I'm reading the comments. I appreciate that, Robin, with you. Live stream, Ed, live stream costs a fortune. If you can afford $2,000 a year for me, I will gladly move my content to live stream. I'd love to talk with somebody at live stream. Ustream also costs a fortune, Brad. So that's the problem. All of these other platforms cost a fortune. When you get down to it, they either cost per user, or they cost per hour, or they cost per gigabyte, they cost per something, but they all cost a fortune. The only reason YouTube is able to do what it does is because it makes that fortune off dropping ads on your stuff and shutting down your channel and protecting its mainstream partner. All right. Yeah, exactly. The Floyd, yeah, YouTube has the biggest watcher base. We could move the watcher base over if we just had a place to put it. I just don't know where to put it. So let's get into climate science, and we're going to talk about climate change, everybody. But the first thing we're going to bring up is Flint, because more stuff keeps going down in Flint. And I don't know if I showed this yesterday, but I wanted to. Twitter credit Tanya, Tauntaun73. This is Michigan, 2016. Yeah, Tea Party, hard. Yeah, Daily Motion, I've looked at. I don't know how much it is, Brad. They all cost varying prices. Basically, I'll tell you guys, the money that I have right now is the money that goes to LiveView. I got nothing else. It's all money that goes to LiveView. So Flint has changed. Things are going on down there. Not really the best of things, but let's talk about this real quick. Here's the. I love this. This came from this thing here came from somebody in chat on the YouTube chat. So Obama went to Flint, but he didn't really do anything. He went to Flint and he bought a car, went car shopping. We're not sure what the deal was there. They haven't changed much there. They haven't done anything. They put a little money there. The big problem is what our friend what's your name? DL Freighter Watcher. I want to read this to you guys. Thank you for talking about Flint. Some info. There are over 8,000 children under the age of 6 in Flint. The appointed city manager is a crony of Rick Snyder. The Emergency Manager Act was repealed by the citizens in Michigan. So the legislature. So this is amazing, folks. This is corruption on high. The Emergency Manager Act was repealed by the citizens in Michigan. Now, the Emergency Manager Act was set in place by Rick Snyder to take control of the place. And the city said, screw you, we're going to take that back. So the legislature wrote in a new law with additional provisions not allowing the public vote to repeal the law. The hell kind of shit is that? Oh, you want to vote? You don't like this? Well, we're going to make sure you can't change it. That's corruption right there. Not doing what the people want. Corruption, hands down. Thus setting up the entire state to potentially become a managed state, losing our vote and right to be self-governed. Obama indifference is sadly predictable, shopping for a new car alongside moldy schools. DeVos and Van Andel are corrupt Ponzi schemers. Betty DeVos has a brother, last name Prince, who runs Blackwater Mercenaries, military-industrial complex profiteers.
What?
That doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all. Flint is an example of systemic corruption in our government that has gone on for decades, and it won't stop with the Obama administration. It won't stop with the Hillary administration. The only way it's going to stop is by putting people in office like Bernie Sanders, who are not tied to corporate interests, who are not working with corrupt establishment people. Flint is sad, and thank you, people of Flint, who have risen up to take back their place. You can make citizens arrests, and you should. You guys see Rick Snyder on the street? Buy some handcuffs, hold that man down, put him in handcuffs. You can make a citizen's arrest. Go for it. Obviously, your elected officials aren't doing their job. Obviously, the federal government isn't doing its job. Obama is shopping for cars. So that's Flint, and that's just one piece of climate change. This is a problem. This is toxic waste across our nation is what we're talking about here. Toxic waste. But we have two big problems when we deal with climate change, when we talk about our planet dying. The fossil fuel industry is a problem all on its own. It does more things, more damage to our planet than anything else. It continues to do damage. And the worst piece of it is that we pay them to do it. Your tax dollars go to these people so that they can destroy our planet. And your government loves to provide them with tax money. So, fossil fuels, global warming, and climate change, for the record, everyone, and this is the scariest, this came out, I believe, in October, and this scared the shit out of me. If this didn't enrage you, if this didn't piss you off, then you didn't really understand what they said. Exxon knew about climate change almost 40 years ago. They admit to climate change. They admit to global warming. They admit it. They knew it. In 1977, the scientists with Exxon, the Nazi Germany of the energy industry, Exxon knew. And they actually formed a coalition at the time, in the early 80s, to try to solve it. And then as soon as they realized it wasn't going to be solved easy, as soon as they realized the way to solve it was renewables, they worked with the government to shut up about it. They worked with the government to quell the information. They worked with the government to make sure we were confused as hell about what climate change was so that they could continue to make money, to profit off the destruction of our planet. They did this knowingly. They did this willingly. They did this with the cooperation of our government, with the cooperation of mainstream media, because that's what they're there for. Okay, we'll promote whatever you want as long as we're paying each other. This is a crime against humanity. Exxon is the Nazi Germany of the fuel industry, and they should be liquidated. Their leaders should be tried and hung, like in the Nuremberg trials, and I use that figuratively. Okay? Why haven't we done this? Because Obama has big friends in the energy industry. Obama is still promoting fracking. Hillary is still promoting fracking. Fracking is one of the most horrendous things that can be done to this environment. Exxon knew 40 years ago that they were destroying our planet, and instead of changing that, they decided to make money from it. And your government has been handing them a subsidy. They pay no taxes, and your extra money goes back to them. They make money twice. They are fucking our planet for free. I'm not sure how they could possibly do this and get away with it. I just don't understand how any government could allow this to happen. Why haven't we marched into the Exxon headquarters with the National Guard and hauled these people out for crimes against humanity? You know why? Because our government is corrupt. Our government is corrupt, folks. I'm just going to read. These are some of the statements from this article. I just want you to, I got to read this because it is horrific. It is horrific. Okay? In their 8-month-long investigation, reporters at Inside Climate News interviewed former Exxon employees, scientists, and federal officials and analyzed hundreds of pages of internal documents. They found that the company's knowledge of climate change dates back to July 1977, when its senior scientist, James Black, delivered a sobering message on the topic. In the first place, there is general scientific agreement that the most likely manner in which mankind is influencing the global climate is through carbon dioxide released from the burning of fossil fuels. Black told Exxon's management committee, sorry, I'm reading this wrong. A year later, he warned Exxon that doubling CO2 gases in the atmosphere would increase average global temperatures by 2 or 3 degrees. Keep in mind, this is in 1977, folks. A number that is consistent with the scientific consensus today. He continued to warn that present thinking, this is 1977 thinking, holds that man has a time window of 5 to 10 years before the need for hard decisions regarding changes in energy strategies might become critical. In other words, Exxon needed to act. That's not even the worst. We've linked documents in the description. Please share these documents, proliferate these documents. There's one document in there called the Climate Deception Dossier.
We'll have to update those links.
Okay.
To the
oh, right. Shit. We'll have to update the links. Yeah, we'll have to put them on the new channel and the new event. Sorry, everybody.
We'll get those updated.
Here's what blows my mind, the part that I've circled in red. We included a memo of the coalition of fossil fuel companies where they pledged basically to launch a big communications effort to sow doubt. Okay, this is back in the day. This is back in '77. We're going to launch a campaign to sow doubt about climate change. There's even a quote in it that says something like, "Victory will be achieved when the average person is uncertain about climate change." You know what, folks? I grew up with that. I grew up in the '80s. With this bullshit about climate change. Is it real? Is it not real? People say it is. I grew up watching this PR campaign as a child. And all along I went, I'm not understanding why this is a big issue. It seems pretty goddamn obvious what's happening here. You dump toxins into the air, you dump toxins into the ground, it's going to have an effect. It doesn't take a scientist to understand that. What it took was Exxon working with mainstream media and your government, Hillary Clinton, in fact, your government worked with Exxon, worked with BP, worked with all of these companies, worked with mainstream media to lie to us, to confuse us, to lie about what they already knew was fact and proven again today and proven in 2006. We've known this over and over and over again. We've tried to go green in the 90s. That was quelled by the car industry. Your government has knowingly and willingly destroyed this planet for profit. When are we going to stop it? When are we going to demand that they actually have some integrity and act on behalf of the people of this planet and not their pocketbooks? How disgusting can you be? This is Scott Walker times a million. He poisoned Flint. The government has knowingly poisoned the planet for profit. That is more disgusting than what Adolf Hitler did. Adolf Hitler murdered millions of Jews. We have murdered a planet, multiple species. And your government continues. There's $110 billion of subsidies that are going to be handed to Exxon and other fossil fuel companies. $110 billion. That's your money that the government is going to toss out to Exxon. Again, why have they not been hauled off and put to justice? Street justice is what I'm advocating. I don't know what that means. You guys figure out what that means. Street justice. Janine, Sean, you want to jump in with a comment while I pull up the next thing? Anything? You guys have anything to say at all? I'm sorry. Is there anything going on?
Well, let me just say, just to play devil's advocate against you.
Sure.
Yeah, they're pieces. They're wrecking the planet and they're killing millions of people. The one difference, I guess, is didn't Hitler do it? He was killing people to kill them, and they were doing it because they're short-sighted humans who are greedy.
Well, all I'm saying is the actions are of similar nature. The actions are equally disgusting.
True.
I'm not trying to compare them as apples to apples. I'm just saying they're equally
intentions
disgusting.
matter. I would say intentions matter.
So one person was killing them to kill them. The other one was killing for profit. I think killing for I mean, geez, I don't know. Is there a better one?
No, I'm not saying there is, but it's just something to. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man is built, from pre-human species. There was no reason to really look that far into the future. It was about what's behind that bush, what's happening tomorrow. Am I going to freeze next week? We're not built as a species to look into the long run, and we're built to, look, to our own self-interests first, and maybe I have a little more of a pessimistic outlook on human nature than others, but I kind of think that is just a natural human weakness that people have problems overcoming.
Interesting.
Not that makes it innocent at all, but
the entire investment and retirement industry would kind of counterplay on that. We're convinced all the time we need to be saving for the future, save for your retirement, look to the future. What are we doing next? So I disagree. I think it has to do with what mainstream media wants you to focus on, and they haven't been interested in focusing on the future of our planet, the future of our children, because there's profit to make. There's profit to make.
Mm-hmm.
I just it's here's the way this would have been different. If I'm going to show you a new headline. Imagine if this had been the headline. How fast do you think we would have reacted? How fast do you think we would have sent nukes? How fast do you think we would have rebuilt our energy grid? How fast do you think we would work together to rid us of the terrorist threat of ISIS that knew climate change 40 years ago? It all has to do with framing, folks. Exxon is touted as heroes. ISIS touted as the terrorists. You know who's the biggest terrorist in the United States? Fossil fuel companies. They terrorize us daily. We're going to look at some of that terror they ring on us. Imagine that. What if ISIS had known? Everybody know who this guy is? Because he's one of my heroes. This is Al Gore.
Should have been
Janine, you're
president.
smiling.
He was elected president.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was elected president.
Unfortunately, some people decided to stop that from happening.
That's right. That's right. Al Gore was a victim of corruption within our political process. This man, imagine a world where Al Gore would have become president. We would have had a decade of peace and green energy reform instead of a decade of wars for oil. Just imagine. Oh my gosh. But what happened was our government was corrupt, and they didn't want Al Gore in there because they knew that's what would have happened. And so they made sure Bush got in office. It was horrible. It was horrific. It's disgusting. Al Gore, a long time ago, knew about climate change, and he's been made fun of for decades for his knowledge of climate change. And it's really sad, but this man is a hero. This man has been trying to tell us that our planet's been dying for a long time, and the science that he had behind it was pretty basic, pretty simple, folks. It doesn't take a scientist to look at these graphs and get it, okay? This is Al Gore's movie, An Inconvenient Truth, and unfortunately I'm not able to show you any clips from that because it's owned by MSM. And for those of you who are going to start telling me, oh, you can run clips, you can do this, you can do that, you can crop. No, we are a targeted channel. We are targeted. MSM looks at the content we put out and shuts it down whenever they feel like it. Okay? They let other people get away with stuff, but they know who we are, they know that we're dangerous, and they shut us down whenever they feel like it. YouTube did it today. So I can't risk. It's funny, Janine, we were talking about running a clip from An Inconvenient Truth, and I was all pissed off about it last night. I was like, I'm going to run it. I should be able to run this. I think we'll be okay. And you're like, no, don't. And then I agreed with you. I'm like, you're right. We can't run it. We'll show screenshots. And then we wake up this morning, and the channel shut down anyway. Fuck you, YouTube. Fuck you. Fuck you. Sorry, it pisses me off. Here's Al back in 2006 showing the reality of what's going on with global warming. Global warming. And back then, people were still making fun of this. People were still saying that it was bullshit. You should read the comments on these YouTube videos from back then. It's horrible. They call him a snake oil salesman. Oh, who is this guy? This is the kind of crap America believes in? Wow, America's full of shit. This is the kind of comments that were put on YouTube in 2006 about Al Gore's statement about global warming, which was pretty stupid simple, folks.
The Republican Party is still making those comments today.
Yes. Yes. Our Earth, you're looking at two lines here. Our Earth breathes every year. It's the most beautiful line from his movie. It breathes. And what you're looking at is that breath. And the lines prior to that giant spike in red, okay, that's just the regular breathing. The temperature goes up, which is the blue line, when the CO2 in the atmosphere goes up, which is the red line. And it goes back down and goes up and goes down and goes up and goes down. And we have a history of this that's pretty solid, pretty consistent throughout time. That giant line you see right there isn't even the top. That's where CO2 levels were in 2006. Notice that the blue line does not correlate yet. Okay? But it's on its way. Those 2 to 3 degrees in temperature change have screwed this planet. Okay? We already have a 1.5 degree change. A 1.5 degree change has already happened, folks. Okay? Here's the other chart, though. Do you see where he's standing there? In 2006, where he's standing way the hell up there, is what they predicted would be in 50 years. Now, understand that all of his calculations and predictions have been verified by the scientific community. He's not making this shit up. This is fact. So we're farther along on that line, but the real thing we need to look at here, folks, is that the line is exponential at this point. It doesn't follow the pattern. You can see the pattern back through hundreds of thousands of years in this picture of our history of the Earth. You can see that it's pretty consistent until you get to where man shows up, to where Exxon shows up. If you can't understand what this means from looking at this chart, you're an idiot. So I tell that to every GOP person who's still fighting climate science. That one's not even ready yet. We got to go back to the other things. That's fracking. but it's funny to show this. So look at this chart on fracking. Notice anything similar with the exponential line that goes straight up there towards the end, towards around where we are. That's his number of earthquakes. And we're going to talk about that in relation to fracking. It's just another way we're fucking this planet. That's not really what I wanted to show next. Let's see. I got to find it here. What is the next thing in my rundown, Janine? Doing bad. I got so much stuff loaded.
I know. I'm trying to find out where you left off. Do we want to talk about the California methane leak?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That's what we want to talk about.
This is insane. It's insanity.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
scary. It's very scary.
I just have to find the video. I had that video pulled up. Where the hell is it? Here it is. Okay.
Got it?
So, California. Everybody understand what's okay? So, fossil fuels. We are mining fossil fuels all over the place, out of the ground. And I used to actually work for a emissions company called Blackhawk Technology. We made landfill pumps, and I had to learn a lot about the landfill industry and a lot about the air emissions industry, and this was in California. So I learned a lot about California air emissions, which are much more strict than Oregon air emissions, and that's important because of what I saw when I came to Oregon after working in California. Landfills produce a shit ton of methane. Okay, that's what they do. Cows produce a shit ton of methane. That's what they do. Right now in California, there is a well, a natural gas well, that is leaking methane, pure methane, into the air at a horrendous rate. And the reason why corporate media hasn't covered this, and the reason why nobody seems to be freaking out about it except for the residents that live near the area, is because you can't see it. Methane, you can't see. So you see a well, nothing's going on. What are you talking about? There's no disaster here. You're full of shit. Climate change is bullshit. That well's just sitting there. There's nothing coming out of there. All right? This is how stupid people that deny climate science are. So what I'm going to show you here is a video by the EDF, Environmental Defense Fund, and this is using a special camera that can actually show you the methane. And then I'm going to show you a website with just how much of that, how much volume is being pushed into the air. Now understand that methane is the single worst greenhouse gas. It is the worst. It is worse than anything else we put into the air. Methane is warming up our atmosphere faster than anything else on this planet. And the leak coming from this place, Aliso Canyon natural gas leak, the leak here in Aliso Canyon is a big ass one. It's huge, huge, massive, biggest leak in history. But here's the thing that really will piss you off. There are leaks all around the world, all over the place, at every single natural gas one. They leak all the time. That's what they do. They just leak. They're holes in the ground. It's not like we can make sure we capture it. All these things are leaking everywhere. Everywhere. So we tap into the methane in our ground, and we spew it out into the atmosphere, and then we wonder why shit gets warmer. Right? Take a look at this, folks. This will freak you out. If you live in California, if you live there.
New footage released by the Environmental Defense Fund offers the first bird's-eye infrared view of the natural gas leak at the Aliso Canyon storage facility owned by Southern California Gas Company. The leak, which has been going on since October, is invisible to the naked eye. It's disrupting life in nearby parts of Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley, and pumping 62 million cubic feet of methane into the atmosphere each day. That's bad news for the climate. Methane, the main ingredient in natural gas, has over 80 times the warming power of carbon dioxide over a 20-year time frame. EDF estimates the daily near-term climate damage caused by the Aliso Canyon leak is equal to the emissions of 7 million cars. The video was filmed by a specialist using an infrared camera called a FLIR. Leaks this size are rare, but major leakage across the oil and gas supply chain is not, and it adds up to a big climate problem, not just in California, but across the country. That's why EDF and others believe oil and gas companies should be required to regularly monitor their systems and curb methane leaks. The footage underlines the severity of the methane leakage problem in the oil and gas industries and the risk it poses both to communities and the climate.
62 million cubic feet a day.
7 million cars.
Imagine if that was black and people saw that 62 million cubic feet a day of that.
Yep. Yeah. If they saw it, you think shit be being done about it right now? You know. That's just one example, folks. One example. You heard them say everything I said. This is a big one, but leaks are happening all over the world. It's not about regulation, guys. We don't need this energy. We don't need it. We haven't needed this energy for a long time. The only reason we are pulling this energy out of the ground is to make the 1% rich. That's it. There is no other reason. And if they had integrity, if they had ethics, if they had morals, if they were actually interested in the 99%, they would stop this immediately. Your government would stop this immediately.
I think the scariest thing about this is they don't have any way to stop it, right? I mean,
they're working on some kind of containment, but it's 8,000 feet in the ground. You know?
We let them build this stuff without any way to stop these type of things. And how long has this been going on now?
Right.
For months. Right. And I can't even conceptualize the amount of methane that's been put into the air.
No. Well, here they've got a running calculator. How scary is that? So check this out. This is on edf.org. Climate. Let's look for the Aliso Canyon leak. What's happening on October 23rd is when this happened. October 23rd, 2015, a massive natural gas leak erupted at a storage well. And a storage well, and we'll explain what this is because this is where they're injecting this shit into the ground. And it's still unrepaired. How big is the leak? It's a mega leak, one of the biggest ever recorded, says Timothy O'Connor. The plume is about 1,000 feet high and several miles long. Likely in the spring of 2016 is when this will be fixed. Spring of 2016. After attempts to plug the nearly 1,000-foot deep leak were unsuccessful, SoCalGas began building a relief well to capture the leaking gas. Here's the chart on here, guys, and I'm gonna zoom in on this.
That says 87.5 metric tons.
87,000, yeah. Here we go. And here's how much gasoline burned. 826 million gallons of gasoline has been burned, an equivalent. And here's how much money. $13 million. Apparently it's not that big of a deal. 13 million is nothing when you're making billions, and we're going to hand that back to them. We'll probably pay them back. We'll subsidize this. We'll probably hand them, we're so sorry you lost some money. Have some more of our tax dollars. Please. Please take them. We love you. That's what our government says. That's what our government says. So look at this right here, and then I think this is a really, really good time, actually, to play this little rally at the U.S. Capitol. This was submitted by a volunteer or somebody who's actually not, they don't have it locked down for monetization on YouTube. His name is Rick Piltz, and I really appreciate it, Rick. This is footage from the rally at the U.S. Capitol to end fossil fuel subsidies. Now, this is back in 2012, but the reason I want you to listen to it is because it's got Bernie Sanders in it. But listen to the numbers. Listen to what they're saying. This is in 2012, folks. Prepare to be pissed.
One of the most important things we can do to begin to grapple with our energy and climate problems is to end the craziness of sending taxpayer money off to the richest industries on Earth. $100 billion over the next decade that can either go to fixing the real problems that America has, or it can go straight into the pockets of the richest industry on Earth, and an industry whose carbon is doing deep damage around the planet. We need to stop paying them a performance bonus for the environmental damage that they're creating. Keith Ellison and I are here today not just to announce new legislation, but to send a very profound message. And that message is that it is time to end the absurdity of taxpayers providing massive subsidies to hugely profitable fossil fuel corporations. That's right. In these difficult economic times, it is imperative that we support the taxpayers of this country, the working people of this country, and not the fossil fuel industry, one of the most powerful and profitable industries in the world. Our federal government is set to give away over $110 billion in taxpayer dollars to the oil, gas, and coal industries over the next 10 years. This is totally absurd. When we have a $15.6 trillion national debt, we cannot afford it. When the 5 largest oil companies have made over $1 trillion in profit in the last decade, they don't need it. As people throughout our country are demanding all over America that we invest in energy efficiency, that we invest in sustainable energy. And when Congress has instead allowed key sustainable energy incentives to expire, even as big oil reaps billions in subsidies, it is time in a very profound way to change our national energy priorities, and that's what we're talking about today. Congressman Ellison and I are introducing the End Polluter Welfare Act in the U.S. Senate and in the U.S. House. Our legislation is the most comprehensive ever introduced on this subject. It ends all of the tax breaks, all of the special financing arrangements, and all of the federal research and development funding. We reform royalties to ensure that fossil fuel corporations pay their fair share. We ensure that never again can a company like BP take a tax deduction for money it spent cleaning up the disaster that it caused in the Gulf of Mexico.
We've got to come together. We have got to work hard. We've got to make the connections. We've got to work on the left and the right of the political spectrum. Anybody who wants to end these things, end these nasty subsidies, we've got to find a friend in them, because what we've got to do is reclaim our nation and make sure it's not BP and the rest of them who get to run the table in the White House, in the Capitol, but it is the voice of the American people. We've got to restore the voice of the American people, and that means we have got to spread the word. I'm so excited about being here today to see the coalition that is emerging, but the coalition is yet not big enough. We've got to mass many, many people and reach out all across this nation so that we can say something very, very simple. And that is, rich companies, rich corporations should not get subsidies on top of the big extreme profits that they already make. We need to come to a very simple idea that in the competition for resources between the old oil industry and the coal industry and renewable industry, at least we can have a level playing field. At least they can have an even shot. And we shouldn't subsidize these interests to the tune of $110 billion.
Cheater economics is when you externalize damages on the public and force the public to pay. We know what fossil fuel damages do to our public health, to our kids, our families. We know the damages it does to crops, to buildings, and now the big damage of all around the world is climate disruption. It's about time we stop these handouts and this cheater economics. Let's put an end to it. And the audacity of coming in for a handout when you're the richest, greasest operations going on the earth. This should just not happen. Bills like this will put an end to the cheater economics and bring integrity to our democracy. And one more thing. Don't be fooled by claims the oil industry will make. Oh, well, if we didn't have this, the price of gasoline would be higher. This is a bunch of baloney. The price of oil is set on the international market. Even President Bush Jr. said, well, with prices of oil at $55 a barrel, we don't need any more incentives to drill. Let's get real and let's call their bluff. So let's go.
There we go. Audio helps. Hey, everybody. So you just heard a whole bunch of people there. This is in 2012 talking about this bill. $110 billion in subsidies over the next 10 years. $110 billion going to these people. Your tax dollars. Your money. Your money. Going to these people for screwing our environment. Knowingly. I just, how could you as a scientist, how could you? I just want to ask the scientists back in the 70s working for Exxon, where were your morals? How did you sleep at night? How did you go home to your family and friends knowing that you were committing the planet to death by your lack of action? Was it the paycheck that made it worth it? Was it the job? What was it that made it worth it for you as a scientist, as a human being, to knowingly destroy the planet and not do anything about it? I guess that's my question to every scientist that even bothered to be a part of that thing. How could you? Shame on you. Shame on you as scientists. It's just pathetic. We're gonna shift from. I want to look at one other thing if I can find it. Quotes. I found this very interesting. We're going to shift to talk about dead zones in the ocean. Dead zones in the ocean are a fun thing. This page though is C3 headlines. These are headlines, global warming quotes. And I was looking through this, just looking for some good quotes to do. And what scared me was down here. I got here. There's a lot of quotes here. We're running out of time. The world is running out of time. We're running out of time. We're running out of time. Running out of time. Running out of time. Everybody in here is saying we're running out of time, folks. How many decades is going to go by before we're out of time? We are actually out of time. Right? This was made clear in a clip from the newsroom, which I actually have in the slideshow because I can't show it. But I want to pull it up because. If you haven't seen the newsroom, the newsroom television show that this show is actually kind of based on, this was a brilliant scene. This is Jeff Daniels interviewing somebody from the supposed Environmental Protection Agency, and this guy basically lays it on the line. And keep in mind, this is several years ago when this came out. What's the CO2 equivalent of getting there on time? Shutting off the cars 20 years ago. Let's say shutting off. But that's what's amazing with live. So that's the quote. Shutting off the car 20 years ago. If we had done action 20 years ago, we would. Why am I hearing music? Who's playing music? Is that music? Loud sound. Anyway, the point is, we're out of time, folks. We've been out of time. We were out of time 20 years ago. We were out of time 30 years ago. We were supposed to take action when we knew we were supposed to take action, and the guy from Exxon said so. In 1977, the guy from Exxon said, we're going to need to do something in the next 10 years, folks. 1987 rolled by, 1997, 2007, here we are. Here we are, guys. What are we going to do about it? Our government is not doing anything about it. Our government is making money. Even Obama, his plan is not going to do anything. Sorry. There is no plan currently today that is going to save our planet from the imminent destruction that it is going to go through. There is no plan. Nobody is acting swiftly enough. Nobody is acting strong enough. You know what the plan needs to be? We stop using fossil fuels today. Now. Stop. Done. We liquidate Exxon. We try all of their people. We take the money from liquidating Exxon and we build an energy grid that's green, that powers the world, that we maintain. That's what we need. A global energy grid that's renewable, that saves us. Okay? Sean, mute yourself, my friend. Getting all sorts of clicking noises. And this is the tragedy. Okay? This was put on a television show I really admired, a television show that was canned probably because it was too busy telling the truth. And once Time Warner, HBO, whoever were on the show, realized that they were really telling the truth, and the Americans were really getting into that, they canned the show as quick as they could. That's why I created this show here, guys. I created the Real Newsroom so that we could not get shut down. Obviously, that's not working too well, but that's what this is supposed to be, because mainstream media won't tell you the truth about climate change, and it took a fictional show about the news to actually deliver the real news. That's so sad and pathetic, and that's why when I saw that, I'm like, why isn't this a real channel? Why don't we have a real channel with this kind of integrity, with this kind of dedication? I want to be a real Will McAvoy. Granted, I'm nowhere near as eloquent, nowhere near as good looking, and I realize I'd probably never make it on an actual anchor set as an anchor. I don't give a shit. I'm not here to win the Cronkite Award. I am here to disseminate information, to tell you the truth, to educate the public on just how corrupt your government is, just how corrupt energy companies are, just how corrupt mainstream media is, and that they've all been working together to profit while they destroy the planet. And we're going to look at some of that destruction. Again, imagine if ISIS had known. What would that be like? All right. I got to scroll down here. Janine's gone. We could look at fracking really quick. I'm just going to touch fracking really quick because I wanted to go into dead zones. Actually, where's my rundown here? Sorry, guys. A lot of stuff flying around. And I'm by myself here and trying to do this, and I'm still pissed off about what YouTube did this morning. Ocean dead zones. Those are pretty crazy things. Here, we'll show this. You guys know what dead zones are? This is not directly related to fracking, not directly related to the fossil fuel industry. This is the other type of environmental devastation. This is dead zones. There are more than 400 dead zones around the world. These are areas of ocean ranging from a few kilometers to many hundreds to thousands of kilometers. The largest one was like 90,000 kilometer wide. These are areas of ocean that have no oxygen, no life. They can't, because we have released so much fertilizer. This is literally what it is. I'll show you to the screen. Fertilizers and other toxins being pushed out into our oceans, just dumped into our oceans, unrestricted, from companies like Dow Chemical, Exxon, BP, all these guys, dumping their chemicals into the ocean. And what happens is these chemicals, they're basically, what they do is incite algae plumes, large algae plumes, because these algae plumes deal with that waste. It's fertilizer waste. And so they deal with that fertilizer waste, and it depletes the oxygen. And these algae plumes are supposed to be throughout the ocean doing their job, doing their things. It's part of the ecosystem that is our planet. But when you spill from your coastlines toxic waste, and you spill that all around the world out into the ocean, you create dead zones, places that have no life, none. There weren't that many dead zones 20 years ago. They've more than doubled, more than tripled. We have 400 dead zones around the world. That is disgusting. We're going to look at what dead zones do. This is an article back in 2008-ish. Australians fear mass extinction as oceans choke. Well, there's a more recent article that says we are in that mass extinction. We have caused it. It has started. We have wiped out so many species so fast from our negligence. The mass extinction is here. Are you seeing this reported on mainstream media? Is anybody seeing this information being reported on CNN or MSNBC? Have they made it a focus of their major story that we've got these things happening all over the country? No? No. There's the climate dossier. Where am I looking for? I can't even find what I'm looking for here, guys. Yeah, here we go. Oceans. Here's a shot from Rob Scribbler. This is a lot of this stuff comes up the USGS and other places, but this is that's a map of dead zones. Here, zoom that in here so you can see what's going on. And what it says here is dead zones are rapidly increasing as oceans warm. As oceans warm and we dump fertilizers into the ocean, these algae plumes create dead zones. Okay? That's what's happening here, guys. Okay? It's an upshot of human-warmed ocean system filled with high nutrient runoff from mass industrialized farming, rising atmospheric nitrogen levels, and increasing dust from wildfires, dust storms, and industrial aerosol emissions. Warming seas hold less oxygen in solution, and the nutrient seeding feeds giant algae plumes. And when they die, they decompose, further robbing the ocean of oxygen. Combined, the two are extreme hazard to ocean health, the symptoms of a dangerous transition to stratified or worse can-filled ocean states. They're basically saying a dead ocean, an ocean that cannot support any life whatsoever. Do you have any idea what would happen if that cascade failure began? It's a cascade failure, understand, that once this reaches a tipping point in the ecosystem, in the water, it will be stoppable. And we will have no life in our ocean. None. I don't understand how we can know we've got these dead zones. We know we are dumping this shit. We are allowing places like Dow Chemical and Exxon and whoever else, Chevron. My grandfather died from the bullshit at Chevron factories in Carteret, New Jersey. There was a massive lawsuit, and it was okay. This is just one small example of the shit. All right. How can we let fossil fuels and other industries continue to do this kind of shit? Continue to destroy our ocean? This 400 plus dead zones, folks. Dead zones. What do dead zones cause? They cause all sorts of horrific stuff. Stuff that you can't see on that slide because it's totally not in the right place. There. We're gonna look at some dead zone damage. Here. It always helps when you can put an emotional attachment to it with animals. Here's some beached whales. Whales are washing up on beaches in ridiculous numbers these days. They're probably not reporting that either. But this is happening because we've poisoned our waters. This is happening because, and they know this. I had a picture of an earwax core from a whale. It was really sick. It's huge. They have big ears, right? But they've found these toxins in their earwax cores because they record this like the rings of a tree. And we are basically poisoning these animals. These animals, whales, are an absolute essential piece of our environment. If we kill the whales, the ocean dies. How many other ways do we need, folks? Algae plumes, whales being dead. Can you imagine the anarchy on this planet when we can no longer fish? When we can't provide food for the majority of the planet? Our oceans are where we get our food, the majority of our food, folks. Okay? Without the ocean, this planet dies. This planet is dying right now. Our government is subsidizing the effort. Subsidizing the effort. If that doesn't enrage you, if that doesn't make you just want to march on the Capitol right now and go wring the throat of the politician that is handing Exxon cash, just grab him by the throat and say, "You asshole, stop giving my money to the people destroying the planet. Act like a fucking citizen. Act like a responsible human being. Act like you have some morals and integrity. Stop taking money and destroying our planet." I don't know how much more clear the message can be from the people. The people all around the world want this stopped, but the government is too busy making money. And for those of you that say we can't stop this, it's gone on too far, it's too much of an effort, we can't do this, you know, it would cost too much money. Fuck you. We've got all the money in the world. We went to the moon on 16K in less than 10 years. We did World War II. Anybody know what planning went into D-Day and how incredible that was? When we rise as a people, we can do anything we want. And Bernie says that all the time. So if we wanted to build a green energy grid, we could right now. And we could do it as fast as we wanted to, with as much resources as we wanted to, because we have those things. The only reason it doesn't happen is because your government is greedy. Your government makes money off fossil fuels, And Exxon is the Nazi Germany of the energy industry. They should be taken down, liquidated, and the money used to rebuild this planet green, or we're all gonna die. Doesn't get any more simple than that. We're all gonna die. Here's another little small piece of that, folks. The military and other people, when they go out looking for oil and gas deposits, blast these massive seismic air guns. They blow out the eardrums of animals. They cause torturous pain. We know this. We've known this for a long time. And they keep doing it. They keep doing it because we don't stop them. They keep doing it because the government doesn't stop them. Because the media continues to muddle the knowledge on this shit. This is horrific. This is horrific that we do this. Should not be done. Just another way, we are killing our ocean with our greed. Killing our ocean with greed. Let's move into fracking. Fracking is just another way to pull fossil fuels out of the ground, folks. And I know I'm running around here looking for the fracking link. I don't have it. Give me a second here. There were so many docs that I loaded in here this morning to talk about, so many things that I wanted to cover with you guys. And then I just got really, really thrown off by the whole channel, and I'm sorry. Here's the way fracking works, guys. Mostly around the world, most evolved nations have stopped fracking. They get that it's bad. What fracking is pulling shale out of the ground, natural gas out of the ground by injecting wells sideways with nasty-ass water and chemicals. And when you inject this into the well sideways, it breaks up the shale and the gas and allows you to haul it out. That wouldn't be so bad if we weren't poisoning our water tables. That wouldn't be so bad if, in the process of storing this nasty wastewater that comes out of fracking, and let's make this clear, because this is where the energy companies try to muddle the waters here. No, fracking itself does not cause earthquakes, but the storage of the wastewater in wells from the fracking does. So let's make that clear. Fracking, or hydraulic fracturing as it's called, does not cause but the storage of the nasty water, the storage of this nasty ass water that can't go anywhere else, they inject it down into these wells, into the ground, 8,000 years. They inject it down into the ground thinking that's going to be a better place to put it. Let's just put this nasty waste into the earth. Who gives a fuck, right? That has increased earthquakes in our nation ridiculously, tremendously. Do not believe what you read on their little energy site about how wonderful fracking is. They'll say, well, most earthquakes are only 3.2 or less, and that's it. Most of them. Bullshit. Go read what the USGS has to say about the magnitude of the earthquakes, the frequency of the earthquakes, and what's going on. I don't even need to do that. Here, I'm going to show you this. Sean, mute yourself, please. The ban on fracking, the list of places that ban fracking, keeps growing and growing, folks. Okay? The only reason the United States hasn't banned fracking all over is because we make too much money from it. Okay? The science is pretty straightforward on fracking. It's nasty. It's unnecessary. It really screws up the environment. Okay? There's a growing list of countries around the world that do not frack. It's really hard to get past, though, because your governments want to make money. Okay? Your governments want to make money, and they think they can make money off fracking. But here's really the piece we need to see here. Okay? I shouldn't need to do anything but show you this picture. I shouldn't need to do anything but show any scientist this picture. If we were living in a country that was about the people and not profit, this picture would tell everybody to stop fracking. This is the frequency of earthquakes. Notice a correlation here. Fracking really started occurring in the 70s. But the boom really happened in the late 80s, early 90s. Look at that exponential line. I mean, I don't know how you deny this. This is bad, folks. This is basically turning our underground into Swiss cheese and wondering why it's not doing so well. We are poisoning our water. We are poisoning our ground. And the only reason we continue to do this is because the government claims that it's okay. I don't know why we let them get away with this kind of damage to our nation. I just don't know why. It's horrific. Fracking is just one of many. So we've got fracking, we've got dead zones in the ocean, we've got the methane leak in California, we've got the fact that Exxon has known for 40 years that what they're doing to mine fossil fuels out of the ground is horrific, and that cars running on gasoline is creating global warming. I mean, how much more do we need? How many more things do we need to stack here before we decide that we need to stop fossil fuels right effing now? How many more things? If you were a government official and you weren't on the take, I would think you would be pretty satisfied with this evidence so far. The problem is you're on the take. Every government official looks at this and goes, but I make a lot of money from Exxon. I make a lot of money from fracking. I make a lot of money. I stay in office. I keep my job. If I let this shit happen, you're gonna die, sir. You dumbass. Your kids are gonna die. You're leaving us with an uninhabitable planet, you asshole. All of you. All of you. You will go down in history as not the stewards of this nation, but the destroyers of it. It's horrific. You all will. Shame on you all for refusing to have morals and integrity and ethics and voting on you voted for your wallet. You put your wallet above the human beings who hired you to do your jobs. That's like a fireman being hired and then walking up to a burning building with people screaming inside, flipping them off saying, fuck you, walk away. That's what an elected official does every time they continue to let fossil fuels go, is they say, fuck you. I don't have to do what you want. You elected me, but I don't have to do what you want. I got the job now. Screw you. That's what they say. That's what your entire Congress says. That's what Obama says. Because I'm sorry, Obama, but your plan is shit. Your plan isn't going to work. Your plan isn't enough. Nothing that we're doing today is enough. This planet is going to die, folks. It's going to die. Very, very fast. Okay. I wish I had something else to show you. I'm going to flip back and forth here. Here's in the links, we'll drop these links in the thing, but this is just one of the links from the USGS monitoring seismic activity. And the reason I had it pulled up, and the reason I said this is because if you start reading the content in this, what you will find is that their information about the magnitude and the frequency and the damage being caused by these earthquakes, because that's something that they don't talk about, is the amount of structural damage that has already been caused by these earthquakes. Millions and millions of dollars, folks. You're not hearing about that. Okay. These earthquakes cause damage. These earthquakes are not just little tiny earthquakes. They are big-ass earthquakes for places like Oklahoma City, Texas. Right? I mean, it's... When you see an exponential increase in earthquakes in a place and you don't think we're not doing something wrong to the environment, you're an idiot. Or you're on the take. That's all it is. You're an idiot or you're on the take. I think we move into Fukushima. I don't think Janine's back. How's it going, Sean? We still have a crowd. 52 people watching right now. Thank you guys very much. I haven't been able to really hit the audience. I see you all there. Cindy, Simcat. Hi, guys. We're just really trying to cover all the information today and help us blast this out, and then I got to get on fighting YouTube. But
yeah, feed
it's
looks
really
good.
important. What?
So the feed looks good, John.
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, good. And all that noise is gone. I don't know what that was. Today, I don't want to forget that the point of today is to act on climate. Hashtag act on climate. Bernie released a bunch of information about climate change. We'll take a look at his page. Hillary, you don't have a plan. I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to talk about Fukushima next and radiation, and just how screwed up nuclear energy is and radiation is, and the fact that Japan is leaking out massive amounts of radiation, completely destroying our environment, and we're buying food from them because Hillary made a deal, right? We're buying food from them. Aw, thanks, Bad Wolf Time Lady. I love you too. I love all you guys. I may be an enraged, angry person, but I love everybody. We're going to talk about Fukushima. Fukushima is going to go down in history as the biggest cover-up nuclear disaster. First worker diagnosed with cancer linked to cleanup. I want to explain something about radiation, folks. It's just like methane. You can't see it. You can't see it. And methane, well, methane can cause damage a lot sooner than radiation. There's a brilliant video, was it Helen Caldicott? And we'll put that link again when we get these things re-put in this event. Helen does a really good explanation, a simple explanation for everybody on how radiation works and what it does to your cells in your body. And I'm going to just break it down even simpler and explain this. When you're exposed to radiation, the kind of radiation, because there's different types of radiations. You can go get an X-ray. Okay. You can go, there's gamma rays, X-rays, okay? Different kinds of radiation. All of these are just different light waves, different frequencies that you can't see. Okay, radiation, nuclear radiation, is dangerous. If it wasn't dangerous, we'd all have a nuclear reactor at home, wouldn't we? Right? Nuclear radiation is extremely dangerous, and the power of that danger lasts for a long, long time. But what it does to a human's body is not directly evident at first, because in general, I'm really generalizing this. The incubation period for the damage that can be done by radiation is 2 to 80 years. So when people say we're not able to estimate the damage of what Fukushima will do in the future, it's because the incubation period for radiation and the damage it causes to the cell is anywhere from 2 to 80 years. So, no, we can't. But we do know from past experience that radiation fucks shit up big time. That's all we really need to know. We saw what happened with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And for those of you that are old enough, Chernobyl is still a wasteland. Chernobyl was another nuclear accident. Russia did maybe a little better job of sealing it up, but they had a meltdown in a reactor, and nobody lives there. Chernobyl, nobody lives there. They covered that up really quick, right? And it was in Russia, and at the time it was the 80s, and we were like, whatever, it's Russia, we don't give a shit. But I want to read from you. I'm gonna go to this page here. I want to read from you the deaths due to radiation exposure now factored in at Chernobyl, and it's difficult. It's difficult to really comprehend. I'm going to read some of this. The number of potential deaths arising from the Chernobyl disaster is heavily debated. All right. It's because radiation has an incubation period of 2 to 80 years. So in order for us to really figure out how many people are going to get screwed up and die or get cancer, which is the biggest thing here out of radiation, radiation causes radicalness within your cells that causes cancer. Okay, it's basically what we're looking at here. It's based on the damage inflicted by the radiation, the amount of dose, but look at some of these numbers here. The WHO's, the World Health Organization prediction, 4,000 future cancer deaths, all right, is based on the linear no threshold model, whatever that is. We have some other, according to the Union of Concerned Scientists, the number of excess cancer deaths worldwide, including all contaminated areas, is approximately 27,000. Another study of the Chernobyl Forum report, called the Chernobyl Forum report, commissioned by Greenpeace. And this says 10,000 to 200,000 additional deaths between the period of 1990 and 2004. Okay. So this is about 10 years, 20 years after Chernobyl happened, guys. Okay. Radiation, nuclear energy is dumb. It's really dumb. It's a fossil fuel too, because we take a rock and we do some crazy shit to it and we make energy, and we make a lot of waste product from that energy. We have ways to make good energy now. We have renewable energy. It doesn't cost much. So anybody out there saying solar panels cost too much, you're full of shit. Go look up your new information. You're outdated. Okay? We know how to make good, clean, renewable energy. Other countries around the world have been excelling at this. We're still dicking around with nuclear energy. Well, Japan and Fukushima, they really made a mess over there. They really made a mess. And I don't even know how to really explain other than what's going on here. I am not 100% versed on Fukushima. But here's the deal. They didn't seal it right. It's leaking massively. And if I can find the right page, here we go. That right there, folks, is Hillary Clinton shaking hands with the Japanese minister of Buy Our Food, agreeing to buy irradiated food, or basically not check. The idea here was not to check the food coming out of Japan because Japan was worried about losing sales because they knew they had a reactor that was spewing radiation into the environment. So right now, folks, thanks to Hillary Clinton, we're receiving food from Japan that is potentially irradiated, cancer-causing. I don't. So I'm sorry, Hillary. When you say that you're for the environment or human rights campaign, again, we know it was your board of directors that voted, not your actual people. And if your people had had a choice, they wouldn't have picked Hillary. But this is what we're looking at as far as environmental stewardship. We got one guy that's ready to end the fossil fuel industry, and we have a woman who's shaking hands with people buying irradiated food. Okay. Fukushima is a horrific disaster, and we are going to see thousands and thousands of deaths from it. And we'll probably see that covered up by mainstream media because they certainly don't want you to know. But it's already devastating the oceans. It's already devastating the people over there. Radiation is dumb, folks. Nuclear energy is dumb. We have better ways. But our government, you know, they like to work with these people. The biggest issue, and here's the real issue: why your government doesn't really want to go renewables, and it's because they can't make as much money. When you move to renewables, and you know, when I talked to Crystal at Solar City about this, and this is one thing that's very interesting, Elon Musk is well aware of this shift, and he's built an energy company designed for maintenance, not taking money from the energy. Okay, but everybody else in the energy world makes money off. That's a lovely thing up there. They make money off selling you the energy. They maintain the system poorly. We have a terrible energy grid. Our energy grid is a piece of shit. Yeah, we'll get into that as far as terrorist threats. That's if a terrorist really wanted to take us out, all they got to do is nuke our grid. Our grid is toast. Right? For all the money we spend on military, 54% of your tax dollars, for all the money we spend on Homeland Security, which is a whole separate budget, believe it or not, okay, none of it goes to protect our energy grid. Our oil refineries are under under the Homeland Security Department. You know, there was one that blew up, Anacostia, blew up. It's under the Health Department. I've been there. I actually was there before you had to get a Twix card to go there. It's quite an interesting place. Our energy grid could easily be taken out by a terrorist. And then this country would be fucked because we don't have a good energy grid. We have an ancient, outdated energy grid because your government has spent no money on it whatsoever, and your cities and states have spent no money on updating those energy grids. So if New York were to lose its power plants, nobody could help New York. New York would be toast. Imagine New York in a complete blackout with no ability to generate extra power. Think about how dumb that is. We could have had solar panels put up all over the place as a backup grid. So for all of you people out there that are actually worried about the security of the nation, you're actually worried about terrorist threats, they've already gotten in. All they have to do is take out our electric stations and we're fucked. Because our government hasn't really been providing for your safety. They've been building planes and tanks and bombs and playing little boy army, but they haven't been really defending and securing this nation from the terrorist threat of taking out our energy grid. That's what scares me to death. Could you imagine this country with no power, no internet, no way to communicate? It would be utter anarchy. It would look about as bad as The Walking Dead minus the zombies. So I just don't understand why we don't wake up and why the military, the military has all their money. Why don't you build an energy grid? You know, why don't you build it? Again, this is why I say liquidate Exxon. Exxon, the Nazi Germany of the energy industry, needs to be eliminated. We need to take their funds and build ourselves a green energy grid. And if Al Gore had been elected, for real, we elected him, the people, but the government decided to put their person in power anyway. If our elected president had actually been in office, we would have had this already. This would have been done. Done. Instead, we're decades behind. We're going to die. Our planet is going to die. Our planet is dying right now because your government is more interested in making money than providing for your grandchildren. It doesn't get any worse than that, folks. It doesn't get any more horrific. It just doesn't. And Hillary Clinton is part of that problem. And Barack Obama is part of that problem. There is only one person running for office right now who's vowed to change it, and that's Bernie Sanders. And there's no way he's going to be able to do it by himself. Once he gets in office, he's going to fight all of these other people, all of the other senators and congresspeople who are really happy making money from fossil fuels. They're really happy going to war all the time. They enjoy it. They don't give a shit about you or your kids. They don't give a shit about this planet. They've made that clear. For 40 years, your government has knowingly invested in fossil fuels, knowingly denied the truth of climate science, knowingly. Not just Exxon, but your government and corporate media and every single scientist that worked in collusion with them to muddy the waters. Shame on all of you. You have doomed this nation. You have doomed this planet with your assholery, with your ignorance, with your arrogance, with your greed. And what can we do? We create volunteer orgs. We create channels like this that get shut down on a whim by companies like YouTube. We've got one chance this year, folks. One chance to save our planet, one chance to save this nation. That's with Bernie Sanders. And if we don't do it, it's going to get really nasty. It's going to get really nasty for a number of reasons. It's going to get nasty because people are going to run out of food. And temperatures are going to rise and fall and get crazy. They're already getting crazy. People are already running out of food. Radiation, mining in the ground, emissions in the air. None of these methods of energy is sustainable. They weren't sustainable in 1977. They're certainly not sustainable today. And now we're pretty fucked. I really, really wish, instead of having an energy problem, it was just an asteroid on its way to smash right into this planet. Because if it was, we would have all organized together as a nation. We would have built whatever contraption we needed to build. We would have solved the problem as fast as we fucking could because we would have understood, we would have seen, we would have had the empirical evidence staring us right in the face that a big-ass asteroid was about to knock us out as a planet. Folks, we have that evidence. We have stacks of it. Exxon has that evidence in 1977. It's an asteroid. It's on its way. Actually, it's hit us. We are fucked, people. Our government needs to act like an asteroid is on its way and is going to hit us in about 10 days. And we have an Armageddon scenario on our hands. Most of us who are environmentalists know this. Bernie Sanders knows this. We have to do something drastic to fix it, folks. Because your government doesn't give a shit. And the plan that they're instituting is just biding time. It's all it is. It's just appeasing you. I don't know what to do. We're going to keep on keeping on. But what I need from you guys is to share this content. We'll get all the links put back in the description as soon as I can. I just got to download the rundown. You need to share this content. You need to share these documents. You need to share the dossier that shows, that proves that Exxon should be tried for crimes against humanity and liquidated. Exxon, BP, Chevron, Shell, all of them knew. And all of the elected officials that knew, all of them. Crimes against humanity, folks, when your elected officials knowingly murder the planet, knowingly destroy it for profit, we need to put them on trial, all of them. I don't know how we do this. Because we're fighting our government, we're fighting our own military, we're fighting the system. But we have to, folks. or you're going to leave a rock, a worthless rock for kids to scavenge on. That's what it's going to be here in another 20, 30 years. Right now, we have to do this. Right now. I don't know what else we do. I don't know what else to say. I'm just going to end it because I don't want to go out with a song. I don't want to go out with anything. I don't even want to go out with a thing for Bernie Sanders. I just want to say this. You've got to share this video. You've got to get this information out to the rest of the public. You've got to fight mainstream media with all that you have, because our planet is dying and we're out of time. We were out of time 20 years ago. And the plans that our government has today are not going to work. It's just an excuse. We have to save our planet, and we have to do it now. Help me. Help us. We'll see you later today, maybe on this channel, maybe for a broadcast. Jeannie and I have a lot of things we got to figure out now. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for being here. In solidarity, everyone. We will take this planet back. We will take this nation back. We will right everything wrong that we have done. We just need to do it together as the 99 with Bernie Sanders. Thank y'all.